Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Glory Hunters Podcast. Nick and Tommy on it. How you been? We got a bunch of stories to go over. Big game today, right after this podcast. Probably the headliner of the weekend, Liverpool versus Manchester City. But there's a lot of stuff going on all around football. MLS just kicked off. Messi with a beautiful goal. All sorts of stories about in North America. Arsenal dropping a huge game. Is it even worth fighting at this point? Does anybody have a chance to catch Liverpool? Arsenal keeps telling the world no. I'm here with Glory Hunter Nick. Are you ready for this week?
I think so.
All right, let's go over some of the stories we have. I guess probably should start off with Arsenal. I would imagine. Let's check the headline here on FootMob. Arteta refuses to hide behind injuries after the Arsenal defeat. And who is this defensive midfielder they pulled up for striker? What's his name again from Spain?
Mikel
Merino, who's got 2 goals in a couple games, so it's not like the worst showing ever, but it just really shows you the state of this team. Forget making excuses for injuries. All right, I understand that's a team mentality. Is it a reasonable excuse considering the situation they're in?
Not really, I don't think so. Because for starters, Jesus has been out for ages.
Mm-hmm.
We've just had the January transfer window. Why have Arsenal not bought a striker?
Yeah.
They even bid 60 million for Ollie Watkins when Villa were in the middle of selling their other strikers, so we're obviously never going to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly the club must have known they needed a striker, especially someone like an Ollie Watkins, to be good enough to do this. And on top of that, they lost 1-0 to West Ham.
Yeah.
Having a striker on the pitch, that's got nothing to do with them conceding to West Ham and being outplayed by West Ham. I don't think it'd be that different with Havertz on the pitch, for example.
No.
So, it is legitimate the fact that they're having to play midfielder up front because of injuries. But, they've had the opportunity to buy a striker very recently, knowing that one of their guys was out and they're in a really, a good position to have potentially caught Liverpool. And their general play just wasn't good enough, and I don't think a striker would have changed that anyway. So
whose fault is this? Is this Arteta's fault? Yeah, I mean, how much control is as far as getting players? I'm always really confused about how much the managers on the field have on as far as bringing players in and out. I'm sure they have a say, but I would imagine some have more influence than others. Is it his fault for not getting a striker, or did they tell him no?
I would assume not. I don't know exactly how it works at the moment at Arsenal, because they did have a big sporting director, but I think he left very recently, Edu. So I'm not sure if he's been replaced yet, and if he hasn't been replaced, whether Arteta's then in the position where it's more on him, if or not. But I can't imagine Arteta would have said no to signing a striker.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know enough about the Arsenal setup to know how much of a say he actually has at the moment.
Yeah, it probably is a mystery, and it would be interesting. But they certainly, at the end of the day, somebody knew they needed a striker, and they didn't come through on it. As you can see here, West Ham defeats them 1-0. A red card in the 73rd minute, pretty much sealing it for West Ham at the end. And as you can see, this is an interesting Mikel Merino, 28 years old. I just heard he was as old as 33. Wait a minute. Is this our guy right here? No.
Yeah.
Oh, this is our guy. This is the guy. Okay, yeah. I thought he was 33, 6'2", 28 years old, a left footer. And, this is the state of things. So it's a combination of bad luck and poor upper management, in your opinion.
Yeah.
I think it would come
to to have both your strikers go out injured is still bad luck. Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, the signs were there that they needed a striker, whether they had injuries or not anyway. Mm-hmm. Everyone knew they needed one. They had a late, pathetic bid for a striker, which shows that they at least knew the fact that they probably needed to buy one. So for me, it falls more on poor management from the club than the poor luck of having both your strikers get injured.
All that being said, they still are within Well, I don't know. They're good. Was it 8 points out? Or excuse me, 9. Yeah, good 8 points out from Liverpool. Liverpool's having a spectacular season, but stumbling a bit of late. They've lost to Everton and now a tie against Villa. They don't look particularly dominant right now. I get the feeling it's more of just every super team has a slide or a weak spot that's usually quite short, usually panics everybody, and they go right back to their winning ways. Do you see that with Liverpool?
Oh yeah, 100%. They drew with Everton.
They drew with Everton. Excuse me, I apologize.
That was Everton's last game at Goodison Park. Mm-hmm. Big rivalry. Liverpool always seem to struggle when they play against Everton at home because it's such a big match that obviously all the Everton players and fans all step up, all the intensity. So like them dropping points to Everton isn't that shocking sort of thing. Like it's one of those where it's like no one was that surprised that they ended up dropping points.
Really?
And Villa are really good. So dropping points against Villa, again, not great for the title race, but it's not like a big warning signs thing. When you look at the stats of the game, like Liverpool should have won the game against Villa. And so, I think it's like you say, they have every team has that. They stumble in a bit, but it's not nothing to worry about. I don't think.
They get back on track. Even teams that have set records. Even there was a time in Inter Miami last year, for not maybe the best example, and then they just got it right back on track. I mean, and I don't see anything different really happening with Liverpool. The big question today is, of course, is Mr. Erling Haaland. Now, there's another. I mean, is the Pep run of dominance is probably over. I don't know if that's going to really. Haaland's going to change that all that much. I think there's a deeper problem there. What do you think's going on in Man City, where they haven't been dominant as years past, yet on paper they look good, better than any team in the world?
I think it's just, every team comes to an end of an era, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's just the point that City are in,
Mm-hmm.
because they've not made loads of signings over the last recent years. Like, a lot of the players that are starting and playing every week have been there for ages, like Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, Stones. All of these guys, they've been through all of those teams that have been successful. So it's for me, it's just that point where they need to just sort of refresh the squad, build anew sort of thing. Like, it's just... It always naturally happens, right?
It got veteran heavy. I think that the club got a little veteran heavy with and having so many guys. Even what's his name? The former German captain found his way back from Barcelona this year.
Gundogan.
Gundogan. And he's been there for ages as well. If you don't
Plus,
count
on top
last
of
year,
that, as everyone seems to not really talk about it at all, it's like they're still without Rodri, the Ballon d'Or winning player. The current holder of the Ballon d'Or is not available for them, and he plays such a crucial role in that midfield as well. So I think when he's back, it will stabilise things more, but the problems will still be there, that a lot of these players are just getting older. They're sort of they're hitting their expiration date, and City just need to refresh, which I think we've started to see that with the January window. They started buying quite a few younger players. All around the team, so I think they recognise that's what it is as well. It's not like this is the end of Pep's career sort of thing. Sure. It's just every team goes through this at one stage, and they just need to sort of refresh the team.
Speaking of Pep, how much longer do you think we'll have him around? I mean, he does have a habit of getting out before it gets bad. I mean, he's an extremely competitive guy. He wants to be considered the best coach in the world. Do you see Pep staying on after this season?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Oh, you think he's going to stay with City?
Years,
really?
I think so.
Why is that? Doesn't he care about his sort of padding his stats, so to speak? Could he take a non-Champions League season? Is that acceptable for him? A manager of his caliber?
Well, I think so, because there's not another club in the world that is better suited for what he wants, right? You have unlimited resources. You've got owners that will buy whoever you want. You're in the biggest league in the world, so you've got the best pull, everything like that. No matter where he goes, it's going to be a downgrade on what's available to him. So
yeah, but you also have the challenge of
season.
you also have the challenge of bringing them back up. I mean, I mean if they finished low bar Champions League getting there, or maybe just outside of it. I mean, does he want to shoot that low? I don't know. I figured. I get what you're saying about him. There's really, where's he going to go? Barcelona? I get that.
Yeah.
But
Plus,
I mean,
on top of that, I think he's probably going to want to sort of redeem things at the moment, because now all the talk about is, oh, Pep's done. This is the end of.
oh, so he wants. You
Pep
think?
sort of
No, I could see that.
I could see him being like,
Oh,
if he leaves now, how damaging is that going to be to his reputation? That as soon as things got hard, he jumped out. Like there's the motivation there to sort of fix things and redeem things. And sort of, okay, it was just a blip. Pep's still Pep sort of thing, and then he can leave City and. The talk will just be about all his dominance instead of, as soon as things got hard, he ran off.
Speaking of tonight's game, how much do you? First of all, what are your predictions, and how much Erling Haaland's participation and his or lack thereof is going to affect today's game tonight? Later.
Obviously, if he plays, that's huge because it's Erling Haaland.
Yes,
but I think even if he plays, I still think Liverpool will come out on top on this one. I'm just not very confident in City at the moment. They're just in a rut. They're in that position where they just seem to lose even when they shouldn't. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. And you're going up against one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. I think Liverpool will have enough to come out on top, while City are down at the moment, even with whether Erling Haaland's available or not.
I got you. Let's move ahead to some other stories. We got Shamrock Rovers out of conference. A little bit of a disappointment here after they looked pretty good in the first game. How do you say this? Norwegian team, Modell. You told me before this was Haaland's first team that he came up with, correct? How do you say that name?
Molde, I think.
Molde, yeah. It looked like they're going to roll over him. They managed to pull him in penalties, and the dream is over that quick. I thought I'd throw him in this week because we kind of had last week. That's quite unfortunate. I was kind of, to tell you the truth, maybe they thought they were going to the next round because I thought it was over. I didn't even watch the game. Any comments on the poor Irish? Because you have to play right through the summer to get this far for an Irish team. No off season for Shamrock Rovers.
The Irish, isn't it?
Kind of is. That's always been kind of an inside joke. Oh, the luck of the Irish. It's like kind of a joke. Like, oh no, I'm poor, I'm Irish, but I'm really funny. Yeah, you got all the luck. Flick urges Barcelona to keep improving despite reclaiming the top spot. Looked a little sleepy in the first half against Las Palmas yesterday. We actually did check out that game. And obviously Flick's going to put on. I think these headlines are boring and stupid. I hate these guys. But we have a really kind of a four-way battle. Bilbao's fallen out a little bit. You're seeing Atletico's had the first spot. I think more than Barcelona. Real Madrid had the first part this year. This is a really tight, really great year in Spain. There's lots of opportunities to make Europe too. Where do you see it? Barcelona hold on this? Just go right down to the end, or does Real Madrid just put it together at the end because they are who they are?
I don't know. Yeah, I think this is the hardest one to predict at the moment in Europe.
It really is.
Because, like, you've seen Atletico drop points there in their last 5, but they're still really good. Mm-hmm. And then, like Real Madrid, you're seeing Mbappe start to score again, obviously with his hat-trick against City.
Sure.
So it's like, they could 100% find their form again, because they play Girona here today. And if they beat Girona, they're on the same points as Barca again.
This is shaping up to be maybe the most interesting finish in as far as European leagues go this year, because it's not just the Barcelona or Madrid fight. Atletico could very easily win this league this year, which it's just not unreasonable. Yeah.
So this could be a true, as long as all 3 of the teams manage to keep up their form, this is a true 3-horse race. And honestly, it could go to any of the 3. They've all got the players to win the league and the coaches. They're all 3 of them are very, very strong sides. So I think this is certainly the league to watch for a title race this year.
And it's also the league that produced the Champions League champion last year. So there you go. Niko Kovac claimed his first league win as Barcelona boss, or excuse me, Borussia Dortmund's boss, Barcelona, on Saturday. But he was not getting carried away with celebrating. Yeah, because you beat Berlin, big deal. You know, so I kind of brought this up to get, because I haven't been doing podcasts in a long time. What do you know about Kovac, and why was he moved midway through the season for Dortmund, as far as you know?
He's one of those like sort of odd coaches, Niko Kovac, where like sometimes his teams look really good and it's like, okay, this guy's a legit coach, and then I don't know, the wheels fall off sometimes. Like he was Bayern coach, he was the one who replaced Carlo Ancelotti, I believe. But he didn't last very long at Bayern, and then he went to Monaco and he was like proper in the title race with Monaco, came second in Liga, like really close to PSG, and then like the next year it all went terribly and he ended up getting sacked halfway through the season after. And so I think he had a similar thing with Wolfsburg, where he was doing pretty well there and then maybe not so much. So yeah, I don't know. He's a weird one where sometimes they look really good and then it seems to all go wrong at some point. So we'll see if that trend seems to continue at Dortmund. But he could be quite a good catch for them, because you know, when his teams play well, they play it like they're a legitimate team, and so with the talent that Dortmund have, maybe he can do something in the league with them. But like I say, it always seems to go wrong with Kovac, so I wonder how long he'll last there.
MLS opens up this week. We actually got to check the highlights for this one. Inter Miami ties it up against NYCFC. Interesting game in this one. First of all, Messi. You got to see the full-blown Messi magic thing. You also got to see a really bad, I didn't even see it the first time. The first goal, if I'm not mistaken here, was scored by, I think, and he ended up taking the red card. Let me get this up on screen for a second. I can always edit this later. NYCFC. Here you go. So you have the first goal by Thomas Alves, and a desperation just in front of the box, for the beginning of the line, for the top of the box. He makes this what looks like a pretty crunching tackle, I guess, on the surface, but you noticed right away that Alves was perfectly clean, and the finish ended up knocking the NYCFC player over. And they were able to tie it up with New York had a really pretty a free kick trick, I guess. Instead of trying to curl it in from the line, they go left and bury it. And at the end, Messi decides to get another helper to tie it up. So they walk in with a 2-2 tie. I wanted to know, this is Messi's last season. How important is it, in your opinion, that Messi either wins like another Leagues Cup or a championship of some kind? He's already got 2 titles. He's got the league, and he's got a Leagues Cup from 2023. This is it. I get the feeling he may make his pit stop in Barcelona before he says goodbye. I don't see him signing on for another year unless he's already planned and is just trying to suck as much money out of David Beckham as possible. Good start. Packed house. How important is it at this stage, at the end of the Messi era?
I think it's more important for the MLS than it would be for Messi, for him to win the thing, because imagine the disappointment for you got the biggest player in the world, Lionel Messi, comes to America and then he doesn't even win anything, right?
Yeah, but I mean, does he? Well, I don't know.
Disappoint a lot of these like newer casuals.
The newer casuals
invested because of him.
Yeah, but I think the education, football wide, is a little different. I think Americans understand the value of winning a league, which is probably the most difficult thing to understand. That winning the league's a championship, because their mentality is you qualify for the playoffs. They might look at it, oh great, you just qualified for Champions League, big deal. That's how an American might look at it. But I mean, I think he's got 2 titles in 2 years, 2 big titles, the entire MLS, the winningest team in MLS, and of course the League Cup's run was classic. It was storybook like, just like the World Cup. But you're right. At the same time, Americans value MLS Cup over everything, and that's probably the most difficult tournament to win because there's so much luck involved. So I'm going to disagree with you that it hurts, but I was like, that if he walks away now, I think I'm satisfied with what he did. 2 titles, 3 years, okay. But I don't know. It's like he seems like he has so much in him. I mean, I think they have to re-sign him, or he has to win a title for them to kind of like get the complete turnaround in his investment. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if sponsors and stuff really push for him to sign on for at least another year.
Yeah. Well, that's the
I
talk.
wouldn't be too surprised if he plays another year in Miami because of all of the sponsorship stuff. It's like, dude, you can't just walk away now.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, like I say, I think it is really important for American football that he wins an MLS Cup before he goes, whenever that is.
It's true.
Because like it will just be seen as this massive anticlimax if he doesn't win it.
Inside the country, yeah. But I think hardcore
like,
fans, but I mean, I think hardcore fans are more like, wait a minute, he won 2 titles. What's the problem here?
Yeah, but that's things like the growth of the league isn't dependent on the hardcores.
Yeah, it really isn't.
More casuals that you want to bring in, the ones that were excited because they heard Lionel Messi's coming to town, and then Lionel Messi doesn't even win the cup. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, that was an anticlimax, and they might lose more interest quickly because it's like, oh well, you know. Messi came and he didn't even win anything, so what's the point of watching this thing?
Well, it was nice. So was it 17? We looked it up. It was like 17 below Celsius in the Kansas City Championship Cup game, and he did not pack the house. But that could have been because of cancellation, I guess.
I know there was some talk about him potentially not even playing the game because of how cold it was.
Yeah, it was ridiculously cold. But he got a amazing thread the needle goal with 4 defenders all around him. Typical Messi stuff. It's you know, I wonder the thing with Messi, what makes him so great is it's that he does it so often, the insane. It's just like you almost get immune to it. Whereas it's like I've seen players do things and score like Messi does and have incredible eyesight or just play an incredible ball to make it so easy for the striker. But Messi just does it more than other people, whereas a great player would have a player like that 2-3 times a year. You get it almost every game from him. I think that's what makes him the best. Messi answers the age-old Stoke question. I imagine this is some British rainy night in Stoke. Can Lionel Messi do it in the cold, rainy night in Stoke? Well, probably. The Argentine superhuman has given the most definitive answer yet to Andy Gray's famous question. Who is Andy Gray? Oh, wait a minute, Andy. I know he used to play for Rangers, right? And he was the FIFA announcer forever, right? The commentator for FIFA.
That guy.
Yeah. And then he got kicked out for like making fun of some chick that got hit with a ball or something, right?
I don't remember exactly.
You were probably a little kid. Yeah, I think he said something about a female ball girl or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Famous questions. Braving 17 Celsius temperature and Inter Miami traveled this morning to Kansas City Wednesday night. Despite the bitterly cold weather, the likes of Messi. Messi is said to hate. So he doesn't like the cold stuff. Leo delivered a massive moment, and of course he did. The phenomenon plucked an aerial ball out of the air before taking advantage of the conditions and putting his defender on skates and sliding in inch-perfect angled finish to the far corner. And also got the winner. So he can do it. I'm not terribly surprised he can do it in a winner. You know. I
disagree that he's answered the question, though.
Why is that?
Because for me, a big part of the cold, rainy night in Stoke part is the fact it's in Stoke. They specify
he's not coming in.
Because Stoke were very notorious for being one of those hard teams, tough tackling.
Oh, really?
Don't let you do anything. So you're playing in the cold, wet and rain. You can't play properly because you're sliding around everywhere, and then you're playing this team who have no problems go flying through you with a 2-foot challenge. They make your life absolute hell on that pitch. And so that's why, for me,
he has not answered the question.
Doesn't answer it, because for me that is a big part of that question. Is like against one of those horrible, tough tackling sides that just go out there not to win, but to just stop you from being able to do anything. Plus all the weather conditions making it so much harder to do anything. So
Not a question. MLS unveils Sunday Night Soccer, which we'll be able to see. It'll be 10 o'clock, 9 p.m. English time. I think that's a smart idea to get the product out to Europe as well. You're going to see this, and I think then they're going to do weekend wrap-up. I think that's the new plan. They used to do wrap-up after their big Saturday. But I think this is kind of a good move. I don't know what they do come NFL time. So it'll probably be like 3 in the afternoon. Not a bad time, but NFL time, they're going to get crushed. But do you like the idea, Sunday Night Soccer? You think I think they have to have one. They can't have everything on kind of paywalled. I think you have to have one big game a week for the public. Don't you think?
yeah, I'd say it's going to bring more eyes probably. So it's probably a good thing for the MLS.
Sunday Night Soccer description change. I hope they put that in ESPN. Apple and MLS says, oh yeah, Sunday Night Soccer change Apple's the league. Said the permanent primetime matchup, all right, held every Sunday, will be accompanied by a pre- and post-match coverage. So I imagine there might be different times for it. But this week it's like 9 p.m. English time, or Greenwich time. The network's leading broadcaster in both English and Spanish. All right. Well, I don't know if I like. It should be free if it's on. I think it should be free if it's on Apple TV. I think that would be a smart move, right? Want to talk Ballon d'Or?
Go for it.
Let's go for it. All right, we'll take Goal.com's call for the top 5. I thought Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe may have not enjoyed the start to Real Madrid that he or clubs wanted, but he scored as his fair share of goals, 22 thus far. And don't the Spanish start a little late too? So they're hitting their halfway point now. There's still plenty of time. So
22 is a good return.
Yeah.
Like for anyone, that's a good amount of goals.
Well, here's the thing. For anybody. I mean, for it almost like if you didn't know about the beginning of the season being kind of cold for him, and you just woke up yesterday, 22 goals, he's having a normal season, right? That's true.
It's good enough that you wouldn't know that he was struggling by those numbers.
So he must have moved up to this spot. We'll probably pay more attention to this thing. He must have moved up, and I think about all the players we're going to mention, I think if Mbappe can keep it up, there's plenty of time left. Of course, it's Champions League too. There's times to be a hero as well. Maybe even Copa del Rey, if they're still in it. I'm not terribly sure.
I think he's my favourite for it personally.
Really? So you think he can climb the mountain against the likes of Robert Lewandowski, who I don't see winning a Ballon d'Or? Has he ever won it before?
He should have. He was robbed.
He was robbed.
He was going to win it, and it was when they cancelled the season for COVID, and they cancelled the Ballon d'Or that year, even though he was like the consensus number one.
So most people think he really.
Yeah, like it was pretty much nailed on because he was having an absolutely insane year, and they were winning everything. So everyone knew Lewandowski was winning it that year, but then they cancelled it, and then the next year they came up with the new best striker of the year award or whatever, and gave it to him as like a consolation prize for everyone knew you would have won the thing last year. Some brand new thing to give you at the next year's ceremony to
Very sad. Well, from the past to the future, Lamine Yamal, 17-year-old, 10 goals, 17 assists. I'm all for it. I think he's going to pick up the trophy. I don't think it's going to be this year. I don't. But I do see him picking it up. One of the things that impresses me about this kid, we haven't heard anything really off-kilter about him or arrogant. He doesn't seem to... He's not even like a heavy diver or an obnoxious guy on the field. This guy's kind of the future of football in a lot of ways if he doesn't burn out. And how worried are you with that?
Wait, sorry, what was the question?
Well, it was like, I guess he is... I think he's like the future if he doesn't burn out. And how worried are you with that? Or rather, let me restate it. What are the odds of that happening? Because he's been pushed in the spotlight at a very young age. Could we see somebody washed up by the time of 23?
I think he should be fine. Mbappe was a similar kind of guy where, like, by 18, because he had a really good year with Monaco, winning the league.
Yeah.
He like scored against Manchester City to knock them out in the Champions League. Like he had this superstar breakout year, and then so he's been like Yamal, where from like 17, 18 years old, he's been playing a lot in the spotlight, and he's still going, right?
Sure.
We're talking about him potentially winning it this year, and he's what, like 25, 26 now?
Yeah,
like that?
That's true.
So, yeah, I think Yamal, as long as like injuries don't hit him bad, then I think looking at Mbappe, I think Yamal can do it like that. Like Mbappe, like we could be talking about him in 5, 6, 7 years, and he still doesn't look like he's going to be slowing down anytime soon.
No.
Maybe in his late 20s.
I think he's going to have to
burning out quicker. But
he's going to have a domineering season. I don't feel like the season's domineering. I don't think he's dominating. I think he's one of the biggest. Well, I think he's one of the best top 10 football players on the planet right now, at very least.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's Ballon d'Or yet. Although it's very political and people have gotten screwed. Here's a story: Rafinha, 26 goals, 13 assists. He's definitely in the conversation here and nipping at the number one spot's toes. How do you, as far as I think both of us think that it's very unlikely that Lewandowski and Yamal win. It's really I agree with you. It's a 3-horse race. But what are the odds of Rafinha pulling this out before it's over? And what a story! He's having a storybook year, and a reason that Barcelona is more competitive than usual.
I mean, he's got the numbers on his side, but I don't know if he's got enough PR behind him. Like the name that you see, Salah's the next guy up.
Yeah.
Salah's this big, huge name, and Mbappe's probably going to be up there.
Yeah.
Even Yamal is still like the biggest name on that team, right? It's not Rafinha, but Rafinha's got the numbers on his side, and so he is more than the others, I think, relying on Barcelona winning things.
Sure.
And him outshining Yamal in the biggest games. Because if Yamal ends up being the guy who scores the winner in the Champions League final for Barcelona, I think that will be enough to put Yamal ahead of him, even if Yamal gets less goals in the season, because everyone will be like, oh, Yamal, the big star, and he scored that winning goal in the final. So
it's a shame.
I think he's got the biggest battle to win it out of all the players there, just because of the name recognition isn't.
He would almost need like a 30, 32 goal season to make it so far off that even if they did something spectacular, they're like, well, his stats are insane. You can't deny him.
Yeah.
But it's funny that you mentioned like the PR part, because he's kind of come out of nowhere. Well, I wouldn't say he's come out of nowhere, but he's never been, this dominant.
He's always been saying, like, he was at Leeds, he was like one of the better players in the league. Like, people liked him.
Yeah.
And he went to Barca, and it's like he's a decent enough player, but he's nothing like he's not a world beater. He's not world class. No one's ever said that. And then this season, he's really exploded to look like a world class player.
Yeah. And number one, 27 goals, 17 assists. Mo Salah having a career season. Who'd have thunk it with Jurgen Klopp leaving? What are your thoughts on why his season is just so good? Is he playing for the money? That's what I thought you were going to say, but
that's not what I was going to say. Funny enough,
really,
I think he's just Mohamed Salah.
Really, he's just that good.
I think obviously losing Klopp's big for Liverpool, but like Arne Slot is a top class coach, and he's showing it at Liverpool. So it's like he's gone from one great attacking coach to another good attacking coach, so he's like able to keep up his numbers. And he's Mohamed Salah. He's one of the best footballers ever. So I think it just comes down to that for me. I don't think it's necessarily playing for money or anything. I think it's just Salah doing Salah things.
Age is showing no signs of catching up with the 32-year-old, and he can fire Liverpool. If he fire Liverpool to silverware come the end of the campaign, he could be the man to end Africa's long wait for the Ballon d'Or since George Weah in 1995. I thought George Weah was English. No, he was, because his son's
Liberian.
Liberian, that's right. Didn't he have the president of Liberia or something like that? George Weah?
I think he did.
Something like that.
Something like that.
I know his son plays for us.
Because Liberia is like very American.
Oh, really?
I think historically it was like loads of like people from the US went back there.
His son is one of the most important players for Team USA. for sure. But getting back to Mo, kind of talking with Rafinha. I mean, if you have Rafinha, he's only a goal behind, and are we kind of saying whoever wins some big silverware is going to win this? Because these guys, there's not much separating these guys, and certainly not much setting Mo and Rafinha. But so might really come down to a Champions League run for both these
100%.
teams. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think that's why I said Mbappe is probably my favourite for it, because I think Real Madrid are probably going to win the Champions League now that they're finding their form again.
Gotcha.
That's who I think is going to do it. And they're in a really good place to win La Liga as well. So it's like Mbappe's probably going to have a big moment later in the tournament. And if Real Madrid do win it, like I think they will, I think that'll be enough for Mbappe's claim for the Ballon d'Or. But I think Salah probably has it if they don't win the Champions League.
Oh, we lost you.
If Real Madrid don't win it.
Hang on.
Oh.
Oh, well, you came back. I don't know if that was Discord or what. But Salah?
Oh, so what I was saying about Salah is
Yeah.
I think Salah's the favourite if Mbappe doesn't win the Champions League.
Gotcha. Okay. Some football online drama. A European lad got doxxed. He gave this, he doesn't do this for money, and he never expected, so he obviously really got rattled. Supposedly this is what it was for. From Stave humble to 9 points below Arsenal, 17 points below Liverpool, and out of the Champions League, karma always comes. And I guess this led to a European lad this guy's a big figure on Twitter, correct? Or X, as they call it now.
Yeah, like big in like the football community, like everyone knows of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's always posting photos of like every single game ever. Like he's got a massive following, or at least did before.
Yeah, I know. So apparently he got doxxed because he did this, and some lousy fans decided to do this though. But I guess this is my opportunity. Like, whether you like it or not, you're a public figure, and if you get into this, if you get a lot of followers doing everything, the odds of that, you got to be ready for it, both, I guess, emotionally and and security wise too. But my thing is, if you're not, I'm not saying willing, nobody should want to get doxxed. If you're not ready to get doxxed, this thing ain't for you. It doesn't excuse the people that are doing that. It is an intimidation. It is a terrorism of sorts. I don't know if it's terrorism in the strictest military sense, but it's a terrorism of sorts. But buckle up if you want to be a public figure. Buckle up if you want to be maybe even just an avatar. They're gonna come and try to find you. Am I off here, or am I being a mean old American?
I agree. That is the realities of it.
Yeah.
It's a sad reality.
It
that's
sucks.
football banter right there. That's all he's done is banter people.
Yeah.
And they've gone the nuclear option for it, right?
Yeah.
But that is the reality of it. At the end of the day, it's not a good thing at all. But yeah, that is the case. If you become a big figure, then this stuff is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
I was more embarrassed for him because his response of I would just say turn the thing off if that's the case. I mean, I don't know what his situation is. It could be family, it could be a security issue, it could be legitimate, stuff like that. But I mean, he wrote this I can't do this anymore. It's almost like I was breaking up with somebody or something. You know what I mean? No, I think just turn it off. Turn it off. Wow, what we were. Yeah, I mean, I found it right here. I want to let everyone know that I've decided to stop being on X. I've made a decision not to be returning, neither on a separate account, neither on any other platform. For the past 24 hours, I've experienced things that I don't wish on anybody, not even those once responsible. So the terrorists won. That's another thing too. I think he should just disappear, if it's that serious. I don't want to go into too much detail, which is smart, but I do want to share my mental health. Not smart. Because now you're just telling them they won. We got them. Now all those bastards, we got somebody who's criticizing City to be able to shut up. The wrong thing to do, in my opinion. Stand up to him, but I don't know his individual situation. So, we got you. Reading, sell before we die. Jonga. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a story here. You said that she's got a bunch of teams and kind of blown it. What's the background on this? So Reading wants this owner out.
Right, yeah. So I read up a bit about this before we came on.
Yeah.
So Dai Yong, I'm not really sure exactly how to say it, and his sister, I think it's his sister, Dai Ji Lu, something like that.
Oh, we're gonna try. We'll do our best.
They bought 75% of Reading in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
They're like they had a business in China where they were basically turning like bomb shelters into apartments or whatever and making money that way.
Mm.
And so he owned a club in Belgium and he owned a club in China as well at the time. Bought 75% of Reading, pumped loads of money in. Supposedly, he spent like 230 million, like pumping it into the club.
Yeah,
and
a lot of money.
Things all went wrong. They ended up getting relegated. His business in China was taken off the Hong Kong stock market in 2022 because they were being investigated for falsifying numbers. His Belgian club in 2020 folded for financial reasons. They couldn't stay open anymore. His Chinese club a year later in 2021 folded for financial issues. And now Reading are in serious financial issues where they're struggling to pay for like wages and staff and things like that after all of the money.
Yeah, we have this Yun Yang is saying that people haven't been paid. Jesus.
Yeah, and they also had they weren't paying taxes supposedly. So
that's Chinese for you.
Yeah, HMRC also came in because they weren't paying their taxes either, and obviously they're not paying staff.
It makes me heroes
properly or on time. So yeah, obviously the fans are standing up.
They should dump a bunch of tea in the Thames River. I'm totally behind them on this one.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, Sell Before We Die is
You like that? Sell Before We Die? Yeah, you're gonna check. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And yes, it just seems to be a case of absolutely terrible mismanagement from the ownership, and now they're in serious financial issues. And we've already seen 2 of the guys' clubs fold, and so Reading's fans are hoping they can find a new owner.
So this is a lot worse than getting Wayne Rooney as coach of your team, is what you're saying?
It's around that.
Yeah.
Imagine they sack the coach and bring in Wayne Rooney as the next coach and be like the double whammy.
Well, speaking of former clubs, Birmingham with a comfortable lead in League One, Wrexham fighting for that second auto promotion spot. Although there is some distance between the Wanderers. Do you expect them to catch? And they'll definitely go to the playoffs, but I imagine they want it straight through. Does Wrexham end up in the championship this year?
I hope not.
Yeah, I know that. I figured that.
I hope Birmingham absolutely collapse and lose every single game for the rest of the season. I hope Wrexham do the same.
Not impossible.
Get rid of them both. Birmingham are just a disgrace to football.
Yeah.
And Hollywood FC, fuck them.
Yeah. Is that what they call them? Hollywood FC?
That's what I call them because they're owned by Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's the only reason anyone cares about that team is because.
That's not true. That show is great. It showed you the local culture and why it's important.
They got fancy owners. That's the only reason.
No, that's not true. I got into it because the local interview that they made it feel like a whole family and how much financially and stuff. The fan. I don't give a shit about Ryan. I'm a dude. What do I care about Ryan Reynolds? What do I look at him? Or whatever. I think the whole thing was unique. And nobody really knows how to. I think they all should have. I think every club in the world should have a reality show. They're so much easier to make now. You can make one on a phone,
I think that's interesting. Like Sunderland Till I Die was pretty good.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I hope Birmingham burn in hell over Wrexham. I'll take Wrexham going up over Birmingham.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I think we can agree on that. And I think, I think that's it. Like I said, Major League Soccer, the first started. Soccer Sunday is today. Liverpool City is today. And I don't know, I guess for we go to oddballs or just our own things. Wiesbaden plays tonight, but I've kind of lost hope. They're ninth. A lot of points out. I stopped counting because it's difficult, but I'm a little more excited about my New Jersey team making some moves there. Alexander Hack in the back. Mototang, fresh off his Bayern Champions League runs. Morgan and Forsberg up front. That's a pretty lethal attack. And would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Choupo-Moting's a really good pickup for the MLS.
It's huge.
He's one of those strikers where he's a lot more rounded. He's not just like a real goal scorer guy. Like he can.
He's also big. He's also like a monster. He's physically imposing and
he's got really good hold-up play, which means like he's, even if he's not scoring, he's got the quality to be able to like improve the team around it. So which I think is worth a lot more than just a guy who can just score goals. And so I think that's good for Red Bulls.
They did lose, but there were times where I thought they played. It's funny because Sandro Schwartz wants them playing a little more possession based. I think that's kind of a weird call this early, and they didn't seem like they were adjusting to it. But I guess we're gonna have to give Sandro time. I don't know. I think these guys work well off the run. That's where I saw Morgan score a lot of his goals. So, but I don't know. I'm not going to worry too much about this. It's a rival, but I don't know. There's too much season left to get upset about opening day losses, in my opinion. What's going on with Braintree?
We're failing to stay up every single week.
Yeah, how do you think you're going to do it? Well, we got a draw. We did watch a draw in the Discord. And by the way, join the Discord. Hang out. It
was decent enough. But last week on Wednesday, we lost to Wealdstone. And we could have been 8 points clear of the relegation zone if we beat Wealdstone at our ground. But instead, we lost, let Wealdstone get out of the relegation zone. And now, as you can see, they're ahead of us on goal difference.
Yeah.
So, good. And we're only 2 points out again when we could have been 8.
Well, so that was a big match to lose against Wealdstone.
And the first goal as well was just an embarrassment. They had a free kick. Our goalie catches it, falls backwards into the goal.
We call ourselves glory hunters, but you really can't say that. We're following the National League in England. And I highly recommend small football. If you're in the States, give it USL. Or a couple of years they're moving to promotion relegation. Just get into it. A lot of English, like my friend Rafa over here. He's Wiesbaden, but when his big clubs, his club's his local club, but his big club's Bayern. You know what I mean? A lot of people do that. Get into it. And if you're a big Liverpool fan, you don't live in Liverpool, check a local team. Probably there's a lot of towns and football clubs here. Are you near Woking or Tamsworth? Get into it. Give it a shot. You do it every week, right? You go to as many games as you can. Correct? It's cheap too.
It's cheap enough.
It's cheap.
I'm a lazy bastard, so sometimes I don't go. But you just form a bond which you just can't with the big clubs unless you're someone who's able to go every single week to the big teams, right? If you support a Premier League club but you can't go and watch them every single week at their ground, you should go and watch your local team, because I guarantee you, after a season or two, you'll be a bigger fan of your local team than the Premier League club, even if you've supported that team for many years. Because actually going to see the team live, going to the matches,
meeting the players,
you just build a certain connection with the club, which is so different, and you will find yourself just enjoying it so much that it's just a better experience than watching a team on TV every single week.
Glory Hunters is really the worst name for us to call ourselves, right? I hope we have two separate videos on MLS kit updates. We didn't like them. I thought Darcy pretty much felt the same way, although minus this one or that one. He properly pointed out that DC United is laughable. But go check out those videos. Join us in Discord. I just re-upped a streaming service. Sometimes you can request, hey, check put this game on, put that game on, put conference on. Well, there you go. Well, that's it. That's all I got. And all the best to you and yours. I'll see you. We need a clipper. We need a shorts maker. We need lots of people. Please join. I can't do this myself. Bye-bye. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.